Meteorologist Erika Paige. Now that we are getting into that season where we could be talking rain, potentially a wintry mix, some snow, let's go over all the different type of precipitation types that you will hear us talk about on the weather team and how that may have potentially an impact for you. So you'll see our column of air and you'll see our different types of precip that we have. Starting on the far side, you can see the rain. That's largely dealing with a warm column of air. And then the one that's closest to me right now, this is your totally cold column of air where temperatures are 32 degrees or below. These are the two easiest scenarios that we have, right? Because you know it's going to be all rain or you know it's going to likely be all snow. Where it gets a little bit trickier is when you're mixing these warm and these colder layers in our atmosphere, and that gets you that wintry mix. You'll often hear us use that phrase, but it's encompassing the fact that yes, at times you could be talking about a little bit of rain, but as your atmosphere profile changes in terms of where your temperatures are from the ground all the way up to those cloud bases, you have the opportunity to see your precipitation change. So you're talking freezing rain, sometimes maybe you're talking about graupel, other times you're talking about sleet. And it's that freezing rain and it's that sleet that can be some of the trickiest that we forecast, but also have the biggest impacts, especially when you're going to be on the road traveling. Why is that? Because, well, especially if you're talking about freezing rain, you still largely have a very warm column of air all up until the point that you get really close to the ground, because the second that water starts to hit the ground, it starts to freeze. And a lot of times you find yourself in scenarios where then you're dealing with black ice and it's transparent. Sometimes you get freezing drizzle. That can also be a form of freezing rain, just much smaller particles of water. And that's where you can really run into a lot of issues. Think your bridges, your overpasses, where they get really slick really fast, and it does not take much in the way of accumulation. With sleet, it's a little bit different in the sense that you have a little bit of that colder air aloft, so you have your snowflake falling. It enters into a warmer layer, so instantly those snowflakes will start to melt, but then they get another cold layer just before the surface, and all of a sudden you're talking about these tiny little ice pellets mixing in. That also can accumulate and cause a lot of problems when you're on the roadways. I'm not saying rain and snow also don't cause those issues, but you really find the worst travel impacts in many instances when you have that wintry mix. So you're talking about some rain at times, transitioning maybe to freezing rain or sleet, and then eventually, of course, snow. And snow, of course, can be very dangerous to drive through, especially here in Northeast Ohio, when we know we have those lake effect bands that will be possible. So hopefully that helps kind of explain a little bit of those different precipitation types as we start to deal with them a little bit more in the upcoming forecasts.